This strategy is going to show you how to win on totals and spreads every single week in college football. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the key information lies what I'm about to show you right now. So if you have a pen and paper, make sure you're writing this stuff down because it's very important. So you can depict what spreads and what totals that you're going to play in college football week in and week out to give you an advantage. Now we're going to start with a total, for example. Okay, let's use the example of, say, Ohio State going against Texas. Okay, let's go ahead and say that the over-under on this game, which is the total, is going to be, let's say it's 47. Okay, 47. Now what you want to see, this is what you want to see to be able to pull the trigger on a game like this and be able to make a bet whether it's going to be the under or over. So there's information out there that's readily available to the public for everybody. Okay, it's called public betting. You get to see the percentages of what they are betting on. Okay, so for example, let's say again Ohio State here in Texas. Over-under is 47. All right, let's say that the top number here, that's going to be people betting on the over. The bottom's going to be people betting on the under. All right, let's say, for example, that we're going to say the public is right here. Okay, and we're going to say the money is right here. So we're going to see a percentage here. We're going to see a percentage of how much the public is betting on and where the money is actually betting on. So let's say, for example, the public is 60% on the over. Okay, let's say there's 6% on the over. I'm going to label this here so you guys see that. We're going to say that's over. We're going to say here is under. Okay, then let's say that it's flip-flopped here. Okay, the money is actually greater on the underside. Let's say on the underside here now we have 60%. Okay, what does this show us? What this shows us is public, which is public money, small bets, parlays, all that is being put on the over in this game. But heavy amounts of money are being put on the under. So there's a differential here. Okay, that right there, that differential should trigger pretty much a red flag for you to be like, all right, let me circle this game and let me see exactly what's going on here. Because why is the public so much on the over, but yet all the money's being put on the under? This is a game that you need to circle. Okay, when you find the information just like that that lines up, you need to circle that game because you're looking for the public to be all over one side, but heavy money to be on the opposite. Reason why is because where the heavy money is going to be going is more where the smart money is going to be at, not the public money. The public money is not going to be where the smart play is. Now, there is a handful of games that are like this on any given Saturday in college football. Okay, so you can literally find 5 to 6 plays every single weekend in college football that have this mismatch just for totals. Okay, but like I said, you need to have this opposite movement here. Okay, this opposite movement is really what's going to trigger you to be able to make a play on this. So what would you be doing? So if you found a game just like this, for example, where the public's all over the over, because let's just say we got two high-powered offenses here. Okay, so naturally the public's going to be like, okay, it's going to be a shootout. But underlying, they're the best defenses in the game as well. People don't really realize that. So the heavy money is actually on the under, and that's where we want to be at. So what would we do in this scenario is take the total, which is 47 here, make sure it's not on a key number. If it is on a key number, what we would do is we would buy that number back to get off of that key number. So like this game, for example, you would go, doesn't matter who you choose, so it'd be Texas, let's say under. Let's say if we bought back to 49, okay? And you'd end up going that way. Now this works the opposite way as well. So for example, if we're looking at the over here, let's say that 60% of the public was on the under, but then 60% of the money was on the over. What this means is the opposite of what we just looked at. So then you would be looking at the over in this scenario. Now I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but it's really not. All you're really looking for here is the public to be all over one side, but the real money, the heavy money, to be on the opposite side. And you want to land on that opposite side, but also be able to buy points back on that play to give yourself an even better probability of being able to hit on a total. Now, if you guys are a little bit confused at what I'm saying here, I literally have a whole course that goes over all this and gives you the exact plays every single weekend that fit this criteria. All you got to do is click the link down in the description. Now let's go ahead and talk about the spreads. You might be wondering, how do I know that this works? Well, this strategy that I am showing you right now has been back tested for years and has proven every single year to be profitable. So as long as you're paying attention to exactly what I'm teaching you, then you will be profitable every single week in college football as well. Now, With that comes bankroll management with your unit size. You have to be betting the correct size. You cannot fluctuate your unit size. So if you're betting between 1 to 3%, you need to stick to either 1%, 2%, or 3% and ride that out for the entire season. Because if you put 3% on one bet and you lose, then you put 1% on another and you win, you're not recouping your losses. Because if you're not disciplined in that area, that is where failure can occur, because like I said, you're putting more money on losses than your wins are recouping. So make sure you're staying at a steady unit size and riding that every single week. So for the spreads, we're going to use that same example. All right, we're going to use Texas and Ohio State. Let's say that the spread in this game, we're going to use a key number spread, so that way we could use that as an example. All right, let's say Ohio State is -7.5. Now again, let's go ahead and label this being public side, this being the money side. Okay, again, let's use an example with a high percentage here. Let's say 70% of the bets are on Texas +7.5. 70% of the bets are there. But yet, 82% of the money is on Ohio State -7.5. So what does that mean? Again, that would trigger a red flag here. Why? Because we got opposite movement here. We got the public all over one side, but the heavy money being on the complete opposite side. So what we would do here is we would literally go with Ohio State, and then they're on a key number of 7.5. We would buy back to 5.5. So you would take Ohio State -5.5 because you're buying off that key number of 7 and 6. It's that simple, guys. It really is. It's that simple to be able to find these types of plays on any given weekend, translate these into wins. Okay, because instead of taking guesswork and thinking, oh, well, this team's better than this team, so I'm going to bet that. Or these are two high-scoring teams, so I'm going to bet the over. That's what these guys all think. Okay? It's where the public always lands, because their mindset goes that way. Their mindset's like, okay, well, two powerhouse teams that score a lot, let me bet the over. This team's better than this team, let me bet this team to win on the spread. That's not necessarily how it works. Okay? You have to find the areas within the game of where the advantages are going to be at, whether it be on the spread or the total. And like I said, this is the same thing for spreads. You'll get a handful of games like this every Saturday as well. But if you play these correctly, you find these exact plays, and you play them correctly, and you buy the points back like I just showed you, you will win every single weekend in college football. Now again, let's go ahead and flip this one, okay? Let's say, for example, 70% now. The public is on Ohio State -7.5, and then 82% of the money is on Texas +7.5, okay? Where would we go here? We would go the opposite way, obviously, right? Then you'd go Texas, and now they're already on bought off a key number for an underdog, so you don't have to worry about buying anything. It'd be Texas +7.5, okay? You have to make sure that there is opposite movement going on here. As long as there's opposite movement going on, that's how you slim down all the games that you need to look at on a Saturday slate. Slim it down to just the games that have opposite movement, where the public's heavy on one side but the money is all over the other side, and then depict exactly how you want to buy off and on those numbers. And guess what? You will win every single weekend in college football with just this small analogy for spreads and totals that I showed you.